Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching News Tonight on Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Frank Rausen Pereira, and before I go to the headlines, Rajya Sabha TV would like to make an appeal to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear a face mask, wash your hands and face regularly, and maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember that these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. After the appeal, it's now time for the headlines. Twitter tenders written apology to Joint Parliamentary Committee for its map showing Ladakh in China, seeks time till 30th November to correct its error. JNU combines inclusiveness, diversity and excellence, says President Ramnath Kovind in his address at the university's 4th annual convocation, lays stress on promoting innovation. Prime Minister Modi congratulates newly elected American President Joe Biden. Both leaders reiterate commitment to Indo-US strategic partnership, discuss challenges including corona pandemic and climate change. With over 44,000 patients recovering in the last 24 hours, COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 93.52%. Active cases go below 4.46 lakhs. Four-day Chhath Puja starts. State government advised devotees to celebrate festival with appropriate COVID-19 precautions. Festival to conclude with prayers to rising sun on Saturday. Well, President Ramnath Kovind addressed the 4th annual convocation of the Jawaharlal Nehru University on Wednesday through video message. He praised the contributions of the university students in various fields. Here's more.
I congratulate the team.
Addressing the convocation ceremony, President Ramnath Kovind said that universities like JNU should be at the forefront to develop specific hand-holding mechanisms and promote innovation among student communities. He said JNU is taking steps to establish centers in new fields of studies to promote skill development and employability of the youth.
In the context of holistic education, I have been told that JNU is taking steps to establish centers in new fields of studies which aim at promoting skill development and employability of our youth. This will enable them to create knowledge-based enterprises and contribute to India's economic development. Setting up of the Atal Incubation Center is one of such new initiatives. It is likely to help innovators in scaling up their ideas and sharing the fruits of their work with the whole nation.
The president said that many former students of the university have made their impact in India and abroad in the civil services, academia, politics, social work, science and technology, media, and business leadership positions.
JNU is among those select institutions of higher learning which can reach globally comparable excellence. All the students who have received their doctorate today must remember that scholars from JNU command very high regard in the global academic arena. They have been honored with prestigious prizes and honors. Their work is cited frequently by researchers and students all over the world. You have to build upon this rich legacy.
The president said in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, higher education institutions should lead research in areas of infections, epidemiology, virology, vaccinology, and other relevant areas.
Today, the world is in a state of crisis because of the COVID-19 pandemic. In the prevailing scenario of epidemics and pandemics, the National Education Policy 2020 states that it is critical for higher education institutions to take the lead in undertaking research in areas of infectious diseases, epidemiology, virology, diagnostics, instrumentation, vaccinology, and other relevant areas. The related social issues also need to be studied, preferably with multidisciplinary approach. In this endeavor, universities like JNU should be at the forefront to develop specific hand-holding mechanisms and promote innovation among student communities.
Referring to the eminent alumni of JNU, the president said, "It is a matter of pride for JNU students that Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and External Affairs Minister S. Shankar were both students of the university." Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, moving on to some other news now, where, of course, India and the United States of America have reiterated their firm commitment to strategic partnership and shared priorities. Well, in a telephonic conversation on Tuesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated US President-elect Joe Biden, describing it as a testament to the strength and resilience of the democratic traditions in the United States. The two leaders discussed COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, and cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region. A statement from the Prime Minister's office said that the two leaders agreed to work closely to further advance the India-US Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership. The Prime Minister warmly recalled his earlier interactions with Biden, including during his official visit to the US in 2014 and 2016. The Prime Minister also conveyed his congratulations to US Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, calling her success a matter of great pride and inspiration of members of the vibrant Indian American community. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Bengaluru Tech Summit 2020 on Thursday through video conferencing. The summit will deliberate the key challenges emerging in the post-pandemic world. Scheduled to start from the 19th of November, the theme of the three-day summit is Next is Now. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, Swiss Confederation Vice President Guy Parmelin, and other prominent international figures besides industry captains, technocrats, researchers, innovators, investors, policymakers, and educators from India and abroad will take part in the summit. The Karnataka government is organizing the event along with Karnataka Innovation and Technology Society, the state government's vision group on IT, biotechnology, and startups, among others. Well, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said that the Constitution binds the country in one thread and it is our tradition and cultural heritage. He said our Constitution is for the people, by the people, and for the people of India. While launching the Constitution Day Youth Club activities on Wednesday, Rajnath Singh said that the country is going to celebrate the 6th Constitution Day in the next week. He urged the youth to come forward to create awareness in the society about the basic tenets of our Constitution. He also stressed on the need of creating awareness about the rights as well as duties of a good citizen.
हमारा संविधान भारत के लोगों का, भारत के लोगों द्वारा और भारत के लोगों के लिए है। हमारा संविधान हमें सिखाता है कि हम एक बने और नेक बने। यह हमें अनुशासन और विविधता में भी एकता और अखंडता का पाठ पढ़ाता है। स्वतंत्रता, समानता, सामाजिक समरसता और सद्भावना, मैं ये मानता हूं कि इसके मूल स्तंभ हैं और इसकी प्रस्तावना का पहला शब्द यानी हम अपने आप में बहुत कुछ कह देता है।
Well, social media platform Twitter has apologized in writing to the Joint Parliamentary Committee for wrongly showing Ladakh in China. Chairperson of the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Data Protection Bill, Meenakshi Lekhi, said that Twitter has promised to correct the error by the month end. She said that Twitter's deposition has come in form of an affidavit signed by Damien Carrion, the Chief Privacy Officer of Twitter Inc., for wrong geotagging of India's map. Last month, the Joint Committee has come down heavily on Twitter for showing Ladakh as part of China, saying it amounted to treason. The JPC had sought an explanation by Twitter Inc. and not its marketing arm, Twitter India.
एफिडेविट उनका आया है और वो एफिडेविट डेनियल केरन जो उनके चीफ प्रिवेसी ऑफिसर हैं उन्होंने जो है वो एफिडेविट साइन किया हुआ है, सॉन उनकी तरफ से है, जिसमें उन्होंने कहा है कि वो गलती मानते हैं कि जो गलत तरीके से लद्दाख के हिस्से को गलत जियो टैग करके चीन का हिस्सा दिखाया गया और उसको ठीक करने में उनको 30 नवंबर 2020 तक का समय लगेगा, वो उसको ठीक करके भी देंगे। तो हमें सिर्फ ये है कि ये भारत के लोग, भारत की जनता और भारत की सरकार सब कमिटेड हैं देश की एकता और सुरक्षा को बचाने के लिए।
Meanwhile, the Joint Committee on Office of Prophet held its meeting on Wednesday. The panel is headed by Lok Sabha MP Satyapal Singh. Here's more.
The Joint Committee on Office of Prophet considered the draft bill to amend the Constitution to define the expression Office of Prophet. It also heard evidence from the representatives of the Ministry of Law and Justice. The committee, with 10 members, are elected from Lok Sabha and 5 from the Rajya Sabha, is constituted for the duration of the Lok Sabha. It examines the composition and character of the committees appointed by the centre and state governments. It recommends what officers disqualify anyone from being a member of either House of Parliament under Article 102 of the Constitution. Reports of the committee are presented to the Lok Sabha and tabled in the Rajya Sabha. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Standing Committee on Human Resource Development discussed the issue of promoting sports in the country and improving performance in the upcoming Olympic Games. The committee took suggestions from Olympic medal winners Sushil Kumar and Gagan Narang. Our correspondent spoke to the two sportspersons after the meeting. Here's more.
सुशील जी, कितने ज़रूरी है पूर्व ओलंपियंस के सुझाव आने वाले वक्त में बेहतरीन पहलवान तैयार करने के लिए?
आज मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा पार्लियामेंट कमेटी का कि उन्होंने मुझे और गगन को बुलाकर जो 2021 के लिए ओलंपिक है उसके लिए सुझाव मांगे। तो हमने बहुत सी चीज़ें कमेटी के सामने रखी हैं कि ये चीज़ जो खिलाड़ी की रिक्वायरमेंट है।
जब आप शुरुआत के दौर था, यानी कि 15-14 साल की उम्र थी, तब और अब में क्या खिलाड़ियों की स्थिति में परिवर्तन आया है?
2008 ओलंपिक के बाद मैंने ओलंपिक स्पोर्ट्स को दिन से रात होते हुए देखा था और रात से दिन होते हुए। तो मैं मानता हूं कि अब हमारा बहुत अच्छा टाइम आया हुआ है और आज हमारे बच्चों के दिमाग में ये नहीं है कि मुझे ओलंपिक खेलना है। आज हमारे बच्चों के दिमाग में ये चीज़ आई हुई है कि मुझे ओलंपिक मेडल जीतना है। तो ये 2008 के बाद मैंने ओलंपिक स्पोर्ट्स को बदलते हुए।
तो क्या समाज बदला है कि सरकार की मदद है कि किस तरह से हुआ ये?
सरकार
आप लोगों ने जो जीता उसका असर पड़ा?
सरकारों की बहुत मदद मिली है। अब आप सरकार के सामने कोई भी चीज़ रिकमेंड करते हो तो आपको एकदम से मिलती है कि हाँ, हमारे ओलंपिक खिलाड़ी को इस चीज़ की रिक्वायरमेंट है तो इसको दो और इसे मेडल जीतो। तो वो चीज़ें बहुत बदलाव हुई।
जहाँ तक इंडियन स्पोर्ट्स का सवाल है, आई थिंक फिट इंडिया और खेलो इंडिया काफ़ी अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं और इससे काफ़ी नए बच्चे, नई युवा जो पीढ़ी है वो स्पोर्ट्स के प्रति और जो उनके माँ बाप हैं वो स्पोर्ट्स के प्रति काफ़ी डेडिकेटेडली फोकस कर रहे हैं। पहले अगर आप किसी को बोलते थे कि स्पोर्ट्स खेलो तो माँ बाप बोलते थे कि नहीं, स्पोर्ट्स नहीं, आप पढ़ाई करो। बट आज इन मुहिम के कारण जो है काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट जनरेट हुआ है स्पोर्ट में। हमारी परफॉर्मेंसेस के कारण काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट जनरेट हुआ है और यही कारण है कि इतने सारे पेरेंट्स जो हैं आज अपने बच्चों को स्पोर्ट्स में इनकरेज करना चाहते हैं।
तो लेकिन ये अच्छी आप शुरुआत मानते हैं कि आप खिलाड़ियों से समितियां बात कर रही हैं, वो सुझाव अपनी सरकार को भेजती हैं, तो ये एक अच्छी पहल है?
बहुत ही अच्छी पहल है। आई थिंक खिलाड़ी इन सब चीज़ों से अपने ओलंपिक काल में जूझता है और काफ़ी कठिनाइयों से गुजरता है और अगर ये कठिनाइयाँ लोग समझे और उनका सोल्यूशन ले पाए तो बहुत अच्छी बात है।
Meanwhile, elections to the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation GHMC will be held on the 1st of December and the results will be out on the 4th of December. The filing of nominations started on Wednesday. The last date for filing nominations is November 20th, which will be scrutinized on November 21st. The last date for withdrawal of nominations would be November 22nd, after which the final list of candidates will be published. Repolling, if any, will be held on the 3rd of December. The election process would be complete by December 6th. Well, it's time now for a short break, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Defeat coronavirus. Let us always remember, wear a mask. Wash hands. Follow physical distancing. Together, we'll succeed. Together, we'll win against COVID-19.
The prolific British poet and story writer Joseph Rudyard Kipling, one of the first masters of short stories in English. In 1894 appeared his Jungle Book, which became a children's classic all over the world. Kim, the story of Kimball O'Hara and his adventures in the Himalayas, is perhaps his most felicitous work published. Set in and concerned with India he had come to know and love so well. In 1907, Kipling became the first English language writer to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. This is News Tonight. I'm Frank Rausen Pereira. It's time now to take a look at the coronavirus situation in the country.
Daily COVID-19 recoveries have been outpacing new cases for over a month and a half now, while new cases stayed less than 50,000 for the 11th day in a row. India had 38,670 new cases and 474 deaths in the last 24 hours, taking the country's total caseload to 89.12 lakh. 44,739 COVID-19 patients have recovered so far, outnumbering new cases by 6,122. Total recoveries crossed 83.35 lakh, pushing the recovery rate to 93.52%. Active cases are 4.46 lakh, making it 5.01% of the total cases. Total deaths are now 1,30,993. Delhi, which is currently reporting the highest one-day COVID-19 infections and deaths in India, recorded 6,396 new cases on Tuesday. Kerala, West Bengal, Maharashtra and Haryana have reported the highest number of cases in the last 24 hours. Almost 58% one-day COVID deaths were also reported from the 4 states with highest daily infections and Punjab that reported 30 deaths. Kerala saw the highest recoveries at 6,620. Maharashtra registered 5,123 daily recoveries, while Delhi reported 4,421 recoveries. Amid rising cases in Delhi, the Home Ministry announced a slew of measures to contain the COVID-19 situation. These measures include increased RT-PCR testing, door-to-door surveys, and increased capacity of ICU beds. Delhi has also scaled down the number of people allowed at weddings from 200 to 50 amid surge in coronavirus cases. 9.37 lakh samples were tested on Tuesday. Total samples tested now stand at 12.74 crore. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, results of the phase 1 and 2 clinical trials of a Chinese COVID-19 vaccine have shown it to be safe and generates a good antibody response. CoronaVac, manufactured by Sinovac Life Sciences in Beijing, contains an inactivated SARS-CoV-2 virus. The results of the trial have been published in the Lancet Infectious Diseases journal. According to the findings, the vaccine candidate could induce an antibody response in participants within 28 days of the first immunization by giving 2 doses 14 days apart. The Chinese trial involved more than 700 volunteers recruited in China between April 16th and May 5th. Well, in other health-related news now, the Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, on Wednesday addressed the ministerial meeting of the Global Prevention Coalition for HIV Prevention. In his video address, he expressed happiness that the provision of generic anti-retroviral drugs from India to the world has had a critical impact in controlling the HIV epidemic. Speaking on India's unique HIV prevention model, Dr. Harshvardhan said India's prevention model can be scaled up in many countries by tailoring the intervention as per local requirements. The health minister also elaborated steps taken by India to protect the gains in HIV prevention during COVID pandemic. Moving on to some other news now, at least 11 people died and 15 others were injured when a mini truck in which they were travelling rammed into another truck on the outskirts of Gujarat's Vadodara city early on Wednesday morning. Well, the deceased belonged to the Varacha area of Surat. They were travelling to a tourist place, Pavgad, in Panchmahal district when the mishap occurred. Well, state police and fire brigade personnel rushed to the spot and evacuated the people trapped in the accident. The injured have been admitted to nearby hospitals. President Ramnath Kovind has expressed grief over the road accident in Vadodara. The president said that he is distressed to learn about the loss of lives in a tragic road accident. President Kovind wished for speedy recovery of those who have been injured. Well, in the condolence message, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said that he was deeply anguished to learn about the loss of lives in the accident. The Vice President prayed for quick recovery of those who are injured. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed grief over a road accident in Gujarat's Vadodara and said that the administration is providing all possible assistance to the needy. Home Minister Amit Shah said local administration is providing all possible assistance and prayed for the bereaved families and speedy recovery of the injured. Also, Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani has also expressed grief over the accident and has instructed officials to provide immediate assistance to the accident victims. Well, BJP veteran and former governor of Goa, Mridula Sinha, passed away at the age of 77 on Wednesday. A prominent figure, she made extensive contributions to the world of literature with her writings. Mridula Sinha was associated with the BJP since its Jan Sangh days. President Ramnath Kovind expressed grief over the demise of Mridula Sinha. In a tweet, President said Mridula Sinha was an excellent writer and teacher, deeply understood the local traditions and cultural life of the country, especially Bihar. Remembering Sinha, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said that her death is a huge loss to the literary world. In a condolence message, he added that Mridula Sinha was an accomplished writer and a distinguished administrator. Prime Minister Narendra Modi too condoled the death of senior BJP leader and former Goa Governor Mridula Sinha and said that she was also a proficient writer who had made extensive contributions to the world of literature and culture. Home Minister Amit Shah, in his condolence message, said that Mridula Sinha worked for the nation, society and organization throughout her life. Born on the 27th of November 1942 in Muzaffarpur district of Bihar, Sinha completed a post-graduation after a marriage to Dr. Ram Kripal Sinha, a former union minister. She was a prolific writer who started writing short stories on matters pertaining to culture and village traditions. Some of her works were also published in Hindi magazines and later compiled into an anthology called Folk Tales of Bihar. Well, the 4-day Chhath Puja celebrations started on Wednesday with the traditional Nahaye Khaye ceremony. Devotees will offer prayers to the setting sun on Friday. The festival will conclude with morning prayers on Saturday morning. This year, devotees have been asked to follow COVID-19 appropriate behavior during Chhath. State governments have appealed to the people to observe the festival in their homes and avoid mass gatherings as much as possible. Use of face masks and social distancing has been made mandatory. Mass gatherings at riverbanks at Ganga, Gandak and Kosi have been prohibited. Civic authorities have been instructed to sanitize Chhath Ghats. Children up to the age of 10 and people above 60 will not be allowed to visit the Ghats. Meanwhile, in Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has called for arrangements for cleaner ghats for the devotees at the banks of various rivers. Delhi government has declared a holiday on Friday for Chhath Puja. The Delhi Disaster Management Committee has said that Chhath Puja will not be held at public places due to COVID-19. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this newscast. But before we leave, Rajya Sabha TV would like to make an appeal to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash your hands and face regularly, and remember to maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. These simple steps are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. That's it from me. See you again next time.